All right, hello everyone, and welcome to today's video. This is the video for Sunday, August 10th. I am pre-recording this. Did yesterday's as well, but anyway, wanted to get this done, and then I'll post it at the appropriate time. Today we are kind of taking an analytical look at how teams in the Empire Division have done so far during this off season. I'm going to be doing this for the Continental Division this upcoming Saturday, Saturday the 16th. But today we're covering the Empire. Now, it's important to note that some teams kind of work at a different pace than others do. No two teams are doing the same thing at the same time in the same manner. Everyone has different priorities during their off seasons. As we'll talk about when we get down here, Port Huron has been much more active than Watertown has. Now, when we get to October 10th, everybody's going to have the same 20-man roster ready to go for opening day, even though not every team plays their opening game on October 10th, but a few do. So it's not really comparing one against the other, because, again, everyone goes at a different pace. And we'll talk a little bit about that as we go through this. Now, I'm going to go in order of age of the franchise. We're starting off with the newest teams and then going more established, even more established. Watertown, they've been around the longest. Yes, new logo. I wish it was a little bit bigger. This was the closest that I could get to a decent size. So yes, that's a new magnet that I made, reflecting the new identity of the Watertown Wolves. But anyway, so there it is. Okay, let's start off with Indiana. They are the newest team, even newer than Topeka. Topeka was announced before Indiana was announced. Indiana got off to a rough start, and it's not their fault. Unfortunately, the league, I won't editorialize on it, but just saying factually what happened, the league did the draft in a different manner than they had in previous years. Previous years, it was Team A chooses first, then Team B, then Team A, Team B, so on and so forth, till both teams have 12 picks. This time around, Topeka was able to make all of their picks, and then Indiana got their shot on the second day of the draft. I don't think it was right. That's the extent of my editorial bit here. It is what it is. It's done. So Indiana did the best that they could do with what options they were given. There wasn't as much left, obviously, as what Topeka got. Your top tier players, Lester Brown, he's doing everything behind the scenes right now. Well, not everything, but he's doing a lot. He helped conduct the free agent camp. He's been involved, I understand, in some recruiting, and working behind the scenes, taking care of the things that every team needs to do to get ready for the upcoming season. So Lester Brown, you have Austin Belfay, asterisk, put an asterisk next to that. Rickards Jelensky, put an asterisk next to that. The problem is none of these players have signed. None of the established players or players that were drafted have signed, to my knowledge, outside of Lester Brown. And that could be a problem. 2 picks that they made, players that won't be coming in, Trevor Newman and Jacob Ratcliffe. My understanding is they have opted to retire. So there you go. Now you do have other players that were chosen in the draft, like Parker Rutherford, Tristan Wells, Brad Ryder, Danila Belov, Zach Horn, Chris Corrigan, players we're familiar with and we've seen play. But right now, the only players that are signed are the unprovens, the ones that have come in largely through the recruiting efforts of Lester Brown and Dave Smith, who is the head of scouting for the FPHL. You know, we could have a big, pleasant surprise, or we could find out, oh boy, you know, this is a rough bunch. We had the scenario last year with the Dashers, a lot of unprovens starting off the year, and yeah, it was a rough year for the Dashers. Thankfully, there's still a lot of time left. There's still 60-ish days till opening day, so that leaves teams the opportunity to get things shored up. But anyway, if I had to give a grade out of 10, how many out of 10? So far, I'd give Indiana a 2. It's just been very tough. They've been kind of behind the 8 ball right from the get-go. All right, Topeka. Now, we were mentioning about them getting the first 12 picks. Yeah, they drafted well. You know, when you get the first 12 picks, you can do that. And then the 12 turned into 13 through a snafu. They were able to pick up Dan Chartrand from Port Huron. So you talk about some of the players that they're starting off with: Sammy Bernard, Doug Blaisdell, Scotty Koash, Eli Rivers, Carter Thornton. He came in through a trade, but he was one of the first few players in Topeka. Elijah Wilson. A lot of experience on the defensive side of things. The 2 Gagnon players. A lot of experience on the blue line, and now they're kind of filling in the depth pieces. It's a chippy bunch. You figure you've got players like Quinn O'Reilly. You have Jakob Wolf, Trivgay Meniguns, Chartrand, and of course Justin Schmidt. It's a very chippy bunch, not to be unexpected with a Robbie Nichols-led team. That's a style of play that he likes to incorporate. Did he overreach a bit in selecting Donald Lavieri and TJ Sneath? Perhaps. You know, he pretty much knew that neither player were going to be dressing for him, but he thought he could work out a trade deal, and so far, nothing's panned out. So you've got 2 players that are kind of stuck in no man's land. Now the team has been somewhat quiet lately, but the last couple of days things have picked up. They've signed a couple of players over the last couple of days, so there's still plenty of time. But I think they got off to a good start. I'd give them a 7 out of 10. All right, let's talk about Blue Ridge. Blue Ridge, they are a very intriguing team to watch. And if you live in Southwest Virginia, I think you have a lot of reason to be excited and optimistic about this upcoming year. A large part of their core is coming back. A lot of players already signed. They have lost quite a few players to the SP, but they've recruited well and have brought in potential replacements. And they seem like they're the right caliber of player that they're going to need. So, you've got Carson Andrioli, Kyle Heitzner, Dan Klinecki, Danny Martin. You have McHugh, you have Brendan Ronan, Vlasov, Josh Slagers, Mike Mercurio, Igor Romano. They just signed a few days ago Jonah Devereaux, who played with Hunter Godmere in Sweden, and Hunter had nothing but praise to heap upon Devereaux. So, he's probably the real deal. Goalie depth may be a problem. I'm not saying it is. I'm saying it may be. Are they okay with Green, Sturm, and Cole Dolan? We'll find out. They may still look for another goaltender. They may hope that Rostic comes back. But anyway, I think they've done a fantastic job. They've been very aggressive in making sure that they've got their players signed, ready to go to camp. So, I'm going to give them a 9 out of 10. No team made a 10 of 10, but Blue Ridge, pretty close. I think they did a fantastic job up to this point. And we still have 2 months to go till we start the season. All right, let's look at Binghamton. Okay, so they have many returnees as well. It's going to be a very familiar team. So chances are they're going to be very competitive as far as trying to get first in the division again. But the competition seems like it's going to be better this year. Loss of Olivieri and Chris Mott does hurt, but there's such a large percentage of the team coming back. I think that they are a legitimate contender for three-peating. Will they do it? Like I said, competition is going to be a lot tougher this year. They have 5 defensemen back already. Their goaltending tandem is back. New recruits are coming in, and recruiting is one of Coach Brant Sherwood's fortes. So, very good. The only question that I have so far with what has happened up to this point is the offense going to need to be retooled a little bit. You did lose a couple players in the draft. There's a couple other players that probably will not return, retiring or something else. They may have to kind of tweak things, but you look at who they have. They have Jesse Anderson, Tyson Kirkby, Dan Stone, Connor McAnanama, Cam Clark, Dan Weber, Zach Sirota, Austin Thompson, Emerson Emery just signed a few days ago. It's looking good. It's looking like a good summer so far. I'll give them an 8 out of 10. All right, let's go to Danbury. Well, yeah, it was an interesting week this last week, wasn't it? Very interesting. The Nick Nieder sudden resignation does throw a bit of a monkey wrench into the works. It's just a fact. When you lose a coach this close to the start of the season, again, 60 days, but that's not that far away, it's going to be real hard to find the right fit at coach. They do have options. I talked about that this last Thursday on the Flash Audio Network. But let's look at what they do have. They have some real good talent, some big names like Johnny Ruiz, Zach Pamelayan, Josh Chamasi, Nikita Vashkin. They have Panavarev. They have Sharma. They have Swanson. So they have a good group set. Question is, who's coming back? Danbury is one of those teams that goes a little more slowly through the summer. I can promise you that when we get towards the end of August or early September, they're gonna be posting a lot of signings. They're gonna get their people in. So nothing to panic about. A couple of players that are gone. Alexander Vasiliev and Kyle Gonzalez, they won't be returning as players. So they've got to fill those shoes. How have they done so far? I give them a 3 out of 10. But again, I'm not worried about Danbury getting who they need to get, because, like I said, August and September is a flurry of activity. And they're good in year in and year out. So I think they'll be fine. Port Huron. Wow, they're really building off the success that they had from last year, aren't they? Incredible. Just amazing how many players they've already gotten back in the stables. They have been so proactive with taking care of things, with getting a full-time bench boss. Of course, Chris Pollin's going to be behind the bench full-time. You got all your players coming back. Not all, but you got a lot of players coming back. Reed Cooper, Valtteri Nusiainen. Obviously, you have Matt Graham. You have Alex Johnson. You have Ben Brockway, Jamie Bussell, Reggie Millette. You have Brian Parsons, Austin Federley. They've got a major part of their core group coming back, and then they just obtained a couple weeks ago Blake Anderson, Nick Favreau, and Connor Bazal from Monroe. Yes, they're going to have to retweak some things offensively with the loss of Scantlebury, but you got 3 players in exchange for 1. You can make that work. New owner, a lot more resources this year. Going to be some upgrades at the arena. It's going to be a louder arena this year, I think. So, yeah, I'm very impressed with the job that the Prowlers have done up to this point. I'm giving them a 9 out of 10 as well. So I gave 9s to both Port Huron and to Blue Ridge. I think that they have done a phenomenal job so far this summer. And then lastly, we have Watertown. The only constant here is change. We have our new look. There's going to be a lot of new faces. Obviously, community, you're still buzzing about Trevor Lord getting traded out, asking for a trade. They got a couple of good players back, but Trevor Lord, I would put on elite level in this league, and so it's gonna hurt losing that. Who do they have left from last year? Well, right now, even though they haven't signed, still on the roster, they have Trevor Graspry, they have Stephen Clank, they have Chase DeBari, Andrew Whalen. Those are 4 of the top 13 scorers from the team this last year. 9 are gone. And wow, what is going to happen? Are Colgan and Borodkin coming back? Who anchors your blue line? Is Harris coming back? Is McDonald coming back? Is Perilla coming back? We don't know. I do have to offer a bit of a critique. I think baseball has become too big of a distraction. Yes, I understand common ownership. The Rapids and the Wolves are owned by the same ownership group, and so I get that. But I kind of felt like the entire focus over the last couple of months has been the Rapids, the Rapids, the Rapids, the Rapids, and nothing really happened with the Wolves. Wasn't a whole lot of movement. The only thing that we have seen was a return on a couple trades and the results of their new the rebrand. What is it going to be like? They need a great August and September. They really need to pick it up. I'm concerned about Watertown. I really am. I will give them a 2 out of 10. They did get some nice pieces back in the trades, so it's not like they're just totally up the creek without a paddle. But yeah, they've got to get some players signed. They really need to prioritize that right now. So anyway, there's my breakdown as far as how teams have done to this point through the summer. We've got 2 months to go. In some ways, that's a blink of an eye. In other ways, that's an eternity. So for us fans, it's an eternity. All right, so let me know what you think. Maybe you agree with me. Maybe you disagree with me. I'm fine with that. You can leave a comment down below. Just keep it civil. That's all I ask. Let me know what you think. Please hit like and subscribe if you haven't already. Make sure you're following me on Facebook. Very, very important. I post all the news as it happens on Facebook. And of course, follow me as well on the Flash Audio Network. The links for those platforms are on my Facebook page. All right. I am Gary Ryan for the Fed League Flash. Thank you so much for watching. And we will talk to you next time on Tuesday. News and notes. Going to be a lot to talk about. All right. Have a great rest of the weekend and a great week ahead.